2020 may best be remembered as a year many of us would like to forget.
The only thing I can say is do what you can do with what you got. That's all you can do.
But despite all the challenges, we never stopped fighting.
This is what you're fighting for. Keep fighting. So I did.
We never lost hope.
The moment that I saw that some justice had happened gave me a little bit of a glimpse of hope.
And we saw time and time again
Just wanted to document what a nice community we have.
just how far a little kindness could go.
Just showing that, hey, you're not alone, we're all in this together.
So while 2020 was not the best of years, these are the people who made the best of it.
You don't know how much it means to me. I never gave up hope.
Welcome to the people of 2020. I'm Mark S. Allen, and for the next half hour, we're going to take a look at the stories and the people of the last year. Despite the struggles, and there were many, we had no problem finding people who had made a difference, any way they could.
We had never made one. I don't even know if they existed.
Patrick Jensen is the owner of Paul's Glass Company, and in the 35 years of custom glass work, he's never taken a job quite like this one.
It's an intubate cube, and it's made to go over a patient's head that's going to be intubated.
A few weeks ago, the Emmanuel Medical Center in Turlock asked Patrick to design and make some intubate cubes to help protect their medical staff from coronavirus.
I have some drawings, I have some pictures. I would love to share that with anybody who could make them for their own local community.
This is what a typical day looks like in the Rado household these days.
Just the last few days, I think I've done over 100.
Up until about a month ago, 60-year-old Anna Rado was working at the Save Mart in Tracy.
Because I worked in the front bagging and all that, and I was just like, we really should be protected.
She decided to go on leave over fear of bringing the coronavirus home to her family. Now, the hours she would have spent at Save Mart, she spends behind the sewing machine. Rado is making masks for her former coworkers at the grocery store.
My perspective is when you're a nurse, you're going in there knowing that you're dealing with sick people. They don't know who they are dealing with.
Before the pandemic, Emily was lucky to make a few $100s at her part-time restaurant job. But when she received federal stimulus money in her unemployment check, it was well over $600.
It seemed a little bit greedy kind of to even keep because I didn't really deserve that.
The 22-year-old Sac State senior then decided to do something that not many students her age would probably do.
Basically took it upon myself to donate my $600 each week. I was giving out grocery gift cards or money just through PayPal and stuff.
Emily's helped dozens of families, and she's even started a GoFundMe account so more people can donate even after the stimulus check program.
I have over $8,000 that to give out for right now.
It's great to see so many people that stepped up and truly made a difference over the year, but as we think about loved ones that we're going to remember beyond this year, for many of us, sadly, it means someone that we lost to the coronavirus pandemic. That's a feeling our ABC 10 family knows very well. In June, our own Lena Washington lost her father to COVID-19. Here's her story.
He was my best friend. He truly is the reason why I love sports, because my earliest memories of going to see the Phoenix Suns, his favorite picture of me is him in his tuxedo and me in my little tracksuit, standing next to him before we go out to a Suns game. He felt the need to return to work at an Arizona casino, which he had been retired, but he was seeking employment for medical benefits. He's a diabetic, he needed insulin. But come May 15th, when the doors actually opened, the first day they could, my dad was potentially exposed to coronavirus. He called me May 16th and told me how he feared for his safety. And within 2 weeks, I got a call from my sister saying he had tested positive. I called the hospital on June 10th, and that was not the man that I spoke to on June 5th. And that was the last time I talked to my dad. I really tried to save my dad. But it's the carelessness of other people who don't believe this is real. I'll never see my dad again. Like, I want to call him, but I know he will never answer again. He did not deserve to die like this. And he was a fighter. He was a fighter. So for him to succumb to this disease, please just know it's real and it could happen to you.
And our hearts go out to you, Lena. Thank you so much for sharing that very personal story of loss. We want now to thank the nurses and the doctors and all of the frontliners fighting to save lives each and every day. Here's one such story. A man spent 42 days on a ventilator, the victim of the coronavirus. Madison Wade caught up with him the day he got to go home.
Thank you. Paul Cantelli is walking out of a rehab facility after 65 days away from home, mostly in the ICU battling the coronavirus. His nurses and doctors lined up to cheer him on and say goodbye.
No hands.
Cantelli left in style and is now home talking about his experience.
And it was quite a shock when I first got released and they said, "Do you know what day it is?" And I thought it was March and it was May 9th.
He has no idea how he got the coronavirus. He remembers feeling ill, and next thing he knows, he's on his way to the ER. He was so sick, they put him on a ventilator for 42 days. The doctors and nurses at Sutter Medical did everything they could to help him.
They put pictures of me in the ICU. They would say, "This is what you're fighting for. Keep fighting." So I did.
And his stepdaughter, Sarah, organized a parade to celebrate his homecoming.
Remember when I was in the locker and I did the no hands? Let's go, Tom Brady style.
You know, for many of us, the coronavirus pandemic has meant making sacrifices. But for one doctor on the front lines, it meant spending 3 months away from her children. Our own Zach Fuentes was there the day she got to reunite.
It was a moment months in the making. Dr. Marianne Bakak finally back with her 8 and 10-year-old children. Like many healthcare professionals, Dr. Bakak had to make tough decisions to keep her children safe from exposure. She grew up in Roseville and eventually became a doctor at Boston Medical Center, an area that saw huge COVID-19 numbers.
I knew that I was going to be leading a COVID team starting, I think it was March 23rd. So the week before, I knew it was going to happen, and I looked to my husband. It's around St. Patrick's Day, and I go, maybe we should send the kids to California. And he said, that's a crazy idea.
But they eventually made the tough decision and called her father in Roseville to ask him and her mother to look after the kids. Now, after months apart, numbers down in her area, and testing negative several times herself, the time was right for the family to come back together.
Oh, I feel like I love my job, but I really love my kids. And it's really good to have my kids.
You know, when it comes to the pandemic, we're all looking for answers, let's be honest. But coming up, I think I found the one guy who has them. What are you doing to make sure you see 107?
Well, I'm shooting for 120.
He survived the 1918 flu pandemic, World War I, World War II, and more. Now Curly shares his unique perspective on current times. Plus, help in the darkest of times. A Vacaville woman adopts a man who lost everything in a wildfire. And welcome back to the People of 2020. I'm Mark S. Allen. I wanted to take a moment to introduce you to one of the wisest people I know, at least one of the oldest people I know. His name's Curly Bunfield. At 107, he survived the flu pandemic of 1918. He survived the Battle of Midway, shot down twice, sunk once, a 2-time Purple Heart recipient. So who else to ask about the current times, the economy, and what's up with the people hoarding toilet paper? So watching the news, seeing what America's going through, what the world's going through, and how we're reacting to this pandemic, how does that compare to the flu of 1918?
Well, they got smart. Getting the people to stay home, not get too many people together, that's real smart. And that really helps, because this is a pretty dangerous deal that you got.
What are your thoughts on people getting up all the antibacterial products and people buying up in bulk all of the toilet paper?
Well, we used to have Sears and Buck's catalog years ago. But the only thing about them, you know, they had the little outhouses out in the back, and that Sears and Buck catalog was thick, but it had some slick pages in it. You had to be careful in the page you used.
So we better be careful. We're going back to that?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think they had that toilet paper back then.
We don't know how bad it's going to get, but you're one of the few people I know that went through the Great Depression as an adult.
Yeah.
What advice do you have us for that?
Oh, I remember you could get gas 10 cents a gallon, bread 10 cents, milk 10 cents, but you couldn't get the dime. They had a song out, Mister, can you spare a dime?
What were you doing during the Great Depression?
Well, they wrote another song out. It said, standing on the corner and watching the girls go by.
Thank you so much, Curly, for your advice. All right, coming up on The People of 2020, an emotional moment between a father and a son.
It's okay to cry. It's okay to worry about the people you love.
Meet the family behind this powerful photo.
I just started to cry and I was all excited because I never gave up hope on my pug.
And an emotional reunion, 6 years in the making. A lost pug finds his way home.
We're saying enough is enough and it needs to stop.
In Sacramento and much of the nation, people took to the streets this year in protest against police brutality. It was during this time that a Roseville family shared with us a powerful photo. A father weeping as he held his 3-year-old son in his arms. Mike Duffy caught up with the family to find the powerful story behind this photo.
It was when I came home and my wife said they arrested him. I said, what? And she said, they arrested him. The moment that I saw that some justice had happened gave me a little bit of glimpse of hope, but it still installed the fear that I've seen deep in me for my son's future.
Ruppert says he worries because his son is growing fast. It looks like he's going to be a big guy, and some might see him as a threat.
It's my job to know that it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to cry. It's okay to worry about the people you love.
From a powerful photograph to powerful works of art, during the unrest that followed George Floyd's death, many local artists took boarded-up businesses and turned them into works of art. It was all part of an initiative called Board for Change, and our own Lena Washington led the way. It, in fact, raised a lot of money for local Black youth organizations.
She informed me about the Boards for Change, and then, within that hour, I was out at the Plastic Pub. It was really exciting for me to be able to channel my art, put it to something more positive and something more impactful.
One of the biggest stories of 2020 in California is the record fire season. Thousands of people lost everything to the flames. But as we've seen throughout the year, many people turned out to help. Madison Wade has the story of one of those helpers.
After part of the LNU Lightning Complex fires tore through Vacaville, many evacuees ended up at the Western Ranch and Pet Supply for donations and help.
Sorry, I just wanted to document what a nice community we have.
It was a full-on relief operation to meet the most basic of needs. Dave Dubé, for example, came to get his dog Hunter's nails trimmed.
I noticed that Dave had started crying, and we were like, what can we do to help you?
Noelle learned Dave, a total stranger to her, was crying because he had just lost everything he owned. But Dave was also crying because he was overwhelmed by the kindness of strangers.
I lost my house, I lost everything and burnt to the ground. God saved us. And there's a reason why, and I don't know why.
Noelle believes one reason is so she can help Dave in his darkest time, adopting a new friend in a time of need.
She's a sweetheart.
Noelle first started by setting up Dave with a bank account. Then it was time to find him a place to stay. A local hotel would do for now. Then it was time for Dave to get his hair washed and cut. And just surprised him with a new set of wheels.
Oh. It's okay, Dave.
I'm sorry. It's just like, now I can drive around.
Yeah.
It's overwhelming.
Overwhelming. Overwhelming's a great way to describe the emotion Sandra Campos was feeling. She lost her little pug 6 years ago. She never gave up hope.
6 years ago, Sandra Campos posted her own flyer about her beloved dog Chato the pug.
I was homeless at that time.
Sandra has since moved to New Mexico, but she never changed her phone number because Chato is microchipped, and her number was her last link to finding him someday. 6 years after Chato went missing, Sandra got the call she's been waiting for.
I just started to cry and I was all excited because I never gave up hope on my pug.
Someone found him on Highway 99 and took him to Front Street Animal Shelter, and now Erica Vasquez and her boyfriend are volunteering to make the 17-hour drive to Sandra.
I've never had this big of a little tug on my heart, so I'm really excited to be part of it.
And we're so happy to say Sandra and Chato were reunited on Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. You don't know how much it means to me. I never gave up hope.
It's great to see them back together. Coming up on the People of 2020.
There are ways, even socially distanced, that we can show kindness.
From neighborhood concerts to photo shoots and even a parade, see how some simple gestures made a big difference. Plus, heroic efforts and viral dance moves. A look back at the local videos we couldn't stop watching.
She might start her OnlyFans. Big B and that B stand for bands.
Hey, and welcome back to the People of 2020. I'm Mark S. Allen, and we've been looking back at the people and the stories that made the year memorable. You know, one of the most quoted lines of the year was from Mr. Rogers, and that is, look for the helpers. Fortunately, 2020 had many of them.
Normally when you buy a concert ticket, you have to leave your home to see the show. But that's not the case when Grant and Ethan Weber play.
We usually play in front of people's houses, either in their driveways or in front of their lawns.
With bars and concert venues closed, the brothers got the idea to start what they call curbside concerts, 916.
We essentially, it's $20 as a flat donation for a 20-minute concert. Thank you.
Although she had to get ready before 10 in the morning without any of her friends, Destiny Flores finally put on the dress she'd bought months ago and planned to wear to her senior ball at McClatchy High School. Because of the pandemic, her ball was canceled. That's why Victory Outreach South Sacramento Church and Crazy King Production will be offering free senior pictures or prom photos to any graduating 2020 senior.
I'm really grateful. I got to put on a dress, get all nice looking, and be able to take pictures, and that'll be a memory that I can take with me in the future.
Graduation is a rite of passage, but for young people across the country, that ritual has suddenly evaporated. Doug Sutherland says he saw a post on a local Dixon Facebook page asking if someone could help make signs for seniors.
I'd like to donate these signs at my cost. They're missing out on prom, they're missing out potentially on graduation and their grad party, and just a little something, if I can help brighten their day a little bit, then it's worthwhile.
It starts right here in the morning at the meeting point. They get together, finalize their route, and then they're off.
Just showing that we took the time to decorate our cars and drive by just to celebrate everybody. You know, it goes a long way.
Lindsay Parker is with the Elder Kindness Gang of the Sacramento chapter. For the past few weeks, the group has been organizing socially distant, friendly car parades.
Just showing that, hey, you're not alone. We're all in this together.
How can you not smile at that? All right, before we wrap up this half hour, let's take a look back at the videos we watched all year long. We had heroic moments, haircuts. Am I missing anything?
The TikTok twins!
Ah, yes, and the TikTok twins. Elk Grove officer Jared Houston races to save a man trapped inside a burning car.
Somebody in there?
The intense call captured on his body-worn camera.
Can you get up?
In Lodi,
Get up.
the difference between life and death came down to milliseconds.
Honestly, the only thing that was going through my mind at that time was just to get him upset.
Lodi officer Erica Urea was on patrol when she spotted a man in a wheelchair, stuck on the railroad tracks, with a train quickly approaching. Thankfully, her fast actions saved his life. Remember when the 49ers went to the Super Bowl? Yeah, that was this year. Just before the game, ABC 10 caught up with kicker Robbie Gould to get his help for a high school fan in Yuba City.
Hey, Raina. Robbie Gould from the San Francisco 49ers, and I think it'd be a huge kick if you let Alex take you to the prom.
Alex played the video for Raina in front of the whole school, and she said yes. Okay, we got traction now. I broke out the trimmers live on Facebook, as did Rob Carlmark, who let his young kids help out.
Good job,
It's
buddy.
better that I can't see.
And finally, this was the year two local twins conquered TikTok.
Hips tick-tock when I dance.
Shane and Zane Stanley racked up millions of views with their Nene Twins Savage remix dance, even getting the attention of the rap superstar who recorded the song.
Please don't give me hype.
Megan Thee Stallion said it herself. She was like, "This ain't no TikTok dance." She was like, "This is choreo."
I'm a savage, yeah. Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Classy, bougie, ratchet. Ratchet, by the way, also my favorite show on Netflix.
Hey, wrap it up.
All right, it's time to wrap it up. I guess we've done it all and said it all. Thank you so much for joining us for the People of 2020. Don't miss out on the other great people and the other great stories. Get the ABC 10 app in your phone right now. You can also stream us, Amazon, Fire, and Roku. All right, I'm Marcus Allen from ABC 10's Morning Blend, weekdays 5 to 7 a.m. Thanks for watching. Mask up. Be safe.